Look at the gold-lettered Living Trust binder sitting on your desk. It is the single most expensive lie sold to the American middle class. Margaret was a 68-year-old retired teacher who paid a strip mall lawyer $2,500 for one. She read the magazines, followed the mainstream advice, and believed she had done everything necessary to keep her house in the family. Less than a year later, a massive stroke left Margaret unable to live independently. Her family suddenly faced the reality of long-term skilled nursing care. In 2026, nursing home rooms run $10,400 a month. Margaret's life savings totaled $191,000. At that burn rate, she became medically indigent in just 14 months. When the nursing home consultant reviewed the trust, he laughed. He told Margaret's daughter that the gold-lettered binder was effectively a receipt, an itemized list showing the state exactly which assets to seize. The document didn't fail because of a typo. It failed because the estate planning industry intentionally confuses avoiding probate court with protecting your home from government liquidation. To understand the mechanics of this seizure, look at the Medicaid Estate Recovery Program. A 1993 federal mandate weaponized Medicaid, turning the program into a patient-calculating predator. This mandatory recovery law was quietly signed by President Bill Clinton during a bipartisan budget-cutting cycle. The public was completely unaware. While the legislation moved through Congress, the media was exclusively focused on the preliminary hearings for O.J. Simpson. Legally, a revocable living trust is a grantor trust. Because you retain power to amend or revoke it, the law views the trust as a simple extension of your personal identity. This shows the foundational principle of asset protection. If you can access the money, your creditors have the same legal reach. Once Medicaid pays for care, it becomes a massive creditor, pulling the trust aside to claim whatever is inside. Holding a home in a revocable trust offers no protection against the state. It merely organizes your estate for the government to liquidate it more efficiently after you die. Real protection requires a tool called an Irrevocable Medicaid Asset Protection Trust, or MAPT. This trust operates on the concept of alienation. You must make the assets completely legally alien to yourself to keep them out of the state's reach. You place the home in the trust and surrender access to the principal. By handing control to a trustee, you legally sever ownership. Because the house is no longer your property, Medicaid cannot place a lien. The recovery program has nothing to grab. Securing your hard-earned wealth requires a clear trade-off. You give up the illusion of total control today to ensure the home survives the state's recovery efforts tomorrow. Every irrevocable trust faces one massive hurdle: the mandatory 5-year look-back period. Transfers within 60 months of a Medicaid application are audited. Moving a home even 1 day late triggers a penalty, leaving you unable to pay for care. Worse, proposals in Washington may extend this to 7 years, devastating the planning horizon. Time is the enemy of the American retiree. If you wait for a medical diagnosis to begin your planning, you have already guaranteed that the state will liquidate your estate. Survival requires a multi-step strategy. Real asset protection involves retitling accounts, recording new deeds, and following a precise legal roadmap. You need a certified elder law attorney who specializes in Medicaid planning. Generalist lawyers often miss the state-specific recovery rules that determine whether your plan succeeds or fails. Margaret's children were left with a combined check for $5,700 after the state took their childhood home. That is the price of using the wrong document. You are in a position of power right now because your 5-year clock hasn't run out. You still have time to move your equity out of the state's reach. The revocable binder provides a false sense of security. A properly executed irrevocable trust ensures the equity you build over 40 years stays with your children. Act now, before the medical storm hits.